Okay, we're going to start this city council meeting. So I'm going to start out with some opening comments. As you know, this is Brian Johnson, the mayor of the city of Kennedale. As I'm sure everyone who's called into this teleconference city council meeting already knows, this is the first such city council meeting we've had pursuant to the new rules for holding such meetings as proclaimed by Governor Abbott. The ability of your council to meet by teleconference is to allow your council to carry out critical public business during this time of a local disaster declaration. First, I need to state a few ground rules, if you will, to hopefully make this meeting go smoothly. It's our first one we've ever done online and accommodates everyone's desire to hear clearly about what we're talking about and what's being undertaken. So please participate in the call in a quiet location so we don't hear dogs, laundry machines, whatever. Keep your phone on mute unless you're speaking. This will help eliminate background noise. It is unlikely because of our limited agenda that anyone other than the council members or staff will be required to speak, but we do have an email address that you will be able to send emails to ask questions while we're attempting those things. And that email address is gcampbell@thecityofkennedale.com. That's GCAMPBELL@cityofkennedale.com. And we will listen to those comments or see those comments before we have a vote. Once we have a vote, then we're going to move on. Council members, please be patient and ask to be recognized before making your comments or asking questions to avoid more than one person talking at a time. And I'll try to recognize you in the order you're requesting to speak. Please state your thoughts and questions as concisely as possible. And I will attempt to repeat your comments, questions as appropriate so that any citizen who is called in can clearly hear the council discussion. Then, as we vote on the agenda item, I will ask each one of you yay or nay. And so you will vote when I call your name. This meeting is being recorded for rebroadcast, so speak clearly in order for the recording to pick up your comments. And I surely appreciate everybody's patience. And so we're going to start this meeting by calling the roll. Real quick, Josh Alpton.
Present.
Chris Pugh.
I'm here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lee. Sandra. I know we didn't lose Sandra. Is she muted or?
She needs to unmute her phone.
Well, I believe. Sandra? Still no luck with Sandra? Sandra, try pressing *6.
Hear me now?
Yep, gotcha. Linda Rhodes? Linda? Linda, press *6, please.
Present.
All right.
I'm present.
Okay. Chad Wendell?
Here.
And Drew Larkin?
I'm here.
That's our city attorney, Drew Larkin's here. And then in the chambers with me is city manager George Campbell and city secretary Leslie Galloway are here in the chamber. So let's start with our first item to consider, and that's considered Resolution 570, supporting a grant application for a police firearms simulator system. George.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution simply supporting the grant application. It's for the police department to submit a grant to the Criminal Justice Division of the Governor's Office for a firearms simulator system. So it's a state-of-the-art electronic system that trains officers for decision-making and skills as well. We would recommend council's approval of this resolution.
Any questions? Just ask to be recognized and we'll recognize you if you have a question.
Josh has a question.
Yes, Josh.
Do any of the funds need to be matched in order to get this grant?
I think the answer to that is no. We've gotten grants from the same type of grant in the past, and it never had to have a match, and we don't expect that to be the case with this one.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes. Is this Chad or Chris?
George, is this enough money to fully fund the simulator, or would this just be for a portion of the simulator and will be additional grants needed at a later time?
I believe it's full funding for the simulator and that we would not have to provide any additional money.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, then I'll entertain a motion. Please say your name and whether motion.
Josh,
Josh, you-
I make a motion. I make a motion to approve for the simulator for the police department.
Josh Alton makes the motion to approve Resolution 570. Do I have a second? Try that again. Who seconded that? Sandra seconded it. Sandra seconds. All right.
Whoever, it doesn't matter.
Let me just now take the vote. I will call your name and then say yay or nay. Josh Alton.
Yay.
Chris Pugh.
Yay.
Sandra Lee.
Yay.
Linda Rhodes.
Yay.
Chad Wandell.
Yay.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 2, consider Resolution 571 postponing the May 2nd, 2020 general election pursuant to the authorization granted via proclamation by Governor Greg Abbott on March 18th, 2020. George?
Mayor, this resolution would do exactly that, and I would recommend the motion to approve the last resolution that we emailed to you late this afternoon. But this resolution will postpone the city's May 2nd election until November the 3rd, unless the governor approves a date earlier than November 3rd. As an example, if he approved city elections on July the 14th when the runoffs are, or some other date after May the 2nd. This creates a window that we would have our election in November unless the governor authorizes and proclaims another election date after May the 2nd.
Questions? All right, so I will explain a little bit here is that the mayors are trying to push to have an earlier election date than November 3rd. We don't like mixing up partisan elections with nonpartisan elections. And that right now, most of the cities in the area are looking to suspend their elections. They just don't want to have to bring people in. It shouldn't be a matter of your constitutional right or your health. Your health has to take precedent. We can delay this for a little bit longer. And we're hopeful to get a July 1, hopeful, because there's some cities that need to pass some critical infrastructure and special district issues that need to be passed, like Fort Worth. Questions? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 571.
This is Linda Rhodes.
Wait, all right. Let me just randomly call on somebody because we're all jumping in here. Chris?
I'll yield to Councilman Rhodes.
Linda, would you make a motion then?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 571 as amended, the last amendment that we received that would postpone the May election to November 3rd or earlier if provided by the governor.
All right. Sandra, you want to second that?
I second that motion.
All right, let me call the roll real quick here. Josh Alton.
Yay.
Chris Pugh.
Yay.
Sandra Lee.
Yay.
Linda Rhodes.
Yay.
Chad Wandell.
Yay.
All right, motion passes unanimously. That brings us to Ordinance 695 to renew the mayor's local disaster declaration. George, you want to, let's brief them on what that means, and let's make sure we're clear that we're following the county's recommendations. This isn't an attempt to grab somebody's land or a usurp power from anybody.
Absolutely not. As you're aware, Mayor, and the council has been made aware, you issued your first declaration following declarations of the governor and of the county judge. Your first one was issued on March the 20th. Your second one, then updating that as the county and the state updated theirs, was on March the 22nd, which was this past Saturday. Today, you have signed your second amended order, which in fact is drafted so that it mirrors the county's order that they issued earlier today, so that we're all operating on the same page. And this order is more stringent than the ones in the past, but it is consistent with with Tarrant counties, with the city of Fort Worth, and with other cities as they adopt the same type of order as you have signed this afternoon. We would recommend that you approve this. It would be effective. The ordinance that you're adopting, and Drew can chime in if this is not 100% accurate, but until the ordinance is effective until April the 30th, but the ordinance adopting this is effective till April the 30th. But the order itself that you have signed is drafted such that if and when the county judge and the commissioner's court change the orders as things change for the county, that those would affect and our orders would coincide with the counties following that. We would recommend approval of the ordinance extending your order to April 30th.
George and Drew, cities can be more stringent in their declaration, but they cannot be less stringent than the county. Is that correct?
That's my understanding of it, Mayor, that we could be more stringent if the council chose to be, but the county's declaration and order affects all of the county, so it could not be less than the county has adopted.
And we're tied to the county because we're part of their emergency management plan.
That's correct. We are one of many cities that has adopted the county's EOP, or Emergency Operations Plan, and that's what's being affected by this order, both by the judge and by you as the mayor.
Questions? Josh?
No, sir.
Chris?
No questions.
Sandra?
No questions.
Linda?
No questions.
Chad?
No questions.
All right, so we would encourage people to follow these rules. If you go to the park, maintain your social distancing. The new rules also say no public gatherings. You can do that in the privacy of your home. You can go on to the city's website. You'll see the latest version, which says which businesses are allowed to operate and under what restrictions they are. So please follow those. The faster we get those followed, the faster we can get past this emergency crisis. So keep an eye out for your neighbors. If you need anything, if something comes up, let the city know. If you're having a water problem, let us know. So anything else, George?
No, I think not.
All right, so then all I need is a motion to adjourn.
Oh, you need a motion to.
Oh, sorry.
approve this.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm ready to go home.
Took too much.
And self-quarantine. So I'll call the roll. Josh Alden?
You haven't gotten a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, did I get a motion? No. Oh, sorry. Man, I'm so ahead of myself. I need a motion. Sandra?
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 695 to extend the mayor's local disaster declaration.
Do I have a second, Linda?
Second.
All right. I'll call the roll for all those in favor. Say aye. Josh?
Right.
Chris?
Aye.
Sandra?
Yay.
Linda?
Yay.
Chad?
Yay.
Motion passes unanimously. Just for your note, too, I've asked George to begin posting regular meetings for every Tuesday, just in case we have to have a meeting additional emergency. If we don't, we'll cancel those meetings, but at least we'll have them on the 72-hour notice. So we'll be doing that.
Mayor, we do intend to post those as you've requested, but keep in mind that should something change dramatically under the declarations of the governor, and we can post a meeting, teleconference just like this one is, on a 1-hour notice if we have to. Your posting once a week would avoid that and allow us to have the 72-hour notice.
All right, well, now I just need a motion to adjourn. Josh, would you like to do that for me?
Yeah, but I have a question. Was there any questions emailed in or anything?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second, Chris?
I'll second.
All right, I'll take the roll here. Josh? Josh, yea or nay?
Yay.
Chris?
Aye. And I
Sam?
think this is a record for the first council meeting in history.
Sandra?
Yay.
Are you saying yay, like yay, the meeting's over, or yay, yes?
All
All of them. Linda?
Yay, and I'd like to thank George and Leslie and everyone for making sure all this took place.
And Chad?
Yay. And then second, the notion from Linda there. Thank you guys for all the hard work you're putting in and keeping us safe.
All right, well, y'all stay safe, and we'll keep you updated with everything we get.
Stay 6 feet apart.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.